Just a quick heads up before we launch into the news today. We're not going to be producing a show tomorrow because I'll be tied up all day recording panel discussions at the KCSA Congressional Cannabis Day Forum in Washington, D.C. If you'll be there at the forum too, find me and say hello. We'll be back into the swing of things again on Wednesday. I will be producing our newsfeed newsletter email tomorrow, though, so you can still get your cannabis news fix there. You can subscribe to the news feed if you haven't yet already over at mjtodaymedia.com/newsfeed. This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at Curaleaf, one of the fastest growing multi-state legal cannabis operators in the U.S. With 44 local dispensaries, 12 cultivation sites, and 11 processing facilities, serving up more than 150,000 registered medical marijuana patients. Check them out over at curaleaf.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Monday, May 20th, 2019, and you're tuned in to episode 726 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. We kick off this week's news in Colorado, where news broke on Friday that Colorado Governor Jared Polis was naming marijuana industry veteran Ian Seeb to run the state's legal marijuana program. Seeb is a well-known fixture in the Colorado legal cannabis scene, having started up and later sold to Denver Relief Consulting, a leading Colorado cannabis consulting and operations company. He's also been an active member of the National Cannabis Industry Association and served as board chair for 2 terms. The office he's stepping into is the Special Advisor on Cannabis, a job that was once held under former Governor John Hickenlooper by Andrew Friedman of consulting firm Friedman & Koski. This is good news for Colorado. Leafly's David Downs and Bruce Barcott grab our second top headline today with the third installation of their series looking at the impact that legal marijuana dispensaries have had on their local communities and states. This edition looks at how marijuana legalization affects crime and police clearance rates, the metric used to show how many crimes police are able to actually solve. David wrote this one up and found that Washington State Police saw clearance rates for burglaries jump 5% following the legalization of adult use. You'd expect that police would be able to solve more crimes like burglary if they didn't have to waste their time busting people for having, smoking, and selling cannabis, but it's always nice to have the numbers there to back up the intuition. The researchers who noted the change in Washington saw the same thing in Colorado following statewide legalization there, so there might be something here. Open this one up today. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com. Today's final top story is a great long-form piece over at The New Yorker that looks at how the legalization of marijuana has affected California's Humboldt County, which was well known in pre-legalization days for the illicit market cannabis grown there, but that's seen some struggle in recent years as farmers have tried to adjust to the new world of legal cannabis. If you want to have a comprehensive understanding of where legal marijuana has come from, this is absolutely part of that story. So I'd suggest opening this one up today as well for the full dive in. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz it on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the fastest growing multi-state legal cannabis operators in the U.S. With 44 local dispensaries, 12 cultivation sites, and 11 processing facilities, serving up more than 150,000 registered medical marijuana patients. With that many patients, everyone at Curaleaf knows they have a responsibility to do things right, which is why Curaleaf focuses so much time and energy on education and research and development. When it comes to medical cannabis, you need to trust that you're getting products that come from a company that holds the highest standards for safety, effectiveness, consistent quality, and customer care. Grab some of that Curaleaf magic for yourself by visiting one of their dispensaries, which you can find over at curaleaf.com. And make sure to tell them that I sent you. While you're over at curaleaf.com, you can learn more about Curaleaf the stock, which now trades up on the Canadian Securities Exchange under the symbol CURA, spelled C-U-R-A. That's curaleaf.com. All right, time for the blitz. Canadian marijuana company 48 North just announced that it has received licensing to open up a 100-acre outdoor cultivation farm in Ontario that will give it 3.7 million square feet of growing space to work with. The company said that with all of its current licensed capacity, it'll be clear to grow and harvest just under 100,000 pounds of marijuana this year. On Friday, a proposed bill to expand the list of medical marijuana qualifying conditions in Texas was passed by the state Senate's Health and Human Services Committee. If signed into law, House Bill 3703 would add conditions like MS, epilepsy, cancer, autism, and spasticity as qualifying conditions. The bill now heads to the floor of the Senate at large and must pass back to the House for a trip there before it could be taken up for consideration by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Pop over to the Texas Tribune for more here. Ohio-based company Green Growth Brands just announced that it has raised over $45 million in investment capital through private investors. Marijuana Business Daily has numbers and more details there. Popping back to Colorado, we have a proposed Senate bill awaiting the decision of Governor Jared Polis that would allow doctors to recommend medical marijuana in place of prescribing opioid-based painkillers. If passed, Senate Bill 19013 would require the sign-off of 2 doctors and would mandate that underage patients only consume cannabis via spray or extract. Kyle Yeager over at Marijuana Moments picked up on some news out of Washington, D.C., where late last week, Kentucky Representative Andy Barr raised the issue of legal marijuana and hemp businesses not having access to conventional business banking services during a hearing of the House Financial Services Committee. There's a lot of interest in Representative Barr's home state of Kentucky in industrial hemp cultivation in particular, so Barr took the opportunity during the hearing to question Jelena McWilliams, chair of the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC, about difficulties state legal cannabis businesses are having in banking their money. Kyle's piece on this one is good and has video to boot. Pop on over. Marijuana activists in Illinois are pressing to legalize adult use marijuana, with Governor J.B. Pritzker being a loud proponent for legalization. And the State Registered Journal has a click-worthy story up about efforts in that fight to include the expungement of marijuana-related crimes that go far above and beyond what's been done so far in other states and cities. The plan is still in the works, so any of these numbers could change at any moment, but right now, Illinois' plan calls for the expungement of cannabis crimes for charges up to 17.6 ounces, or just over 1 pound. In the few places that have included some kind of process for scrubbing or expunging records, the maximum amount is usually closer to the 1 ounce mark, not 1 pound. Another one I'd add to my list to read today. And finally for today, Canadian company Organigram Holdings just announced that it will begin trading on the NASDAQ Global Select Market starting tomorrow under the symbol OGI. The company will maintain a dual listing on the Toronto Venture Exchange, but will be closing down its shares on the OTCQX market. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Cureleaf, and to all of our awesome Patreon listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the Patreon listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with Marijuana Today.
One take, Shay. One take.